this industry that we are supposed to love and invest our money on. The really sad part is that the South African film industry, there's no other industry that's like this ever. There is no other market is like this, where the producers, when the industry produces a product and then the consumer does not like the product, the consumer says the product is not good enough, the producers can go on and tell the consumers how stupid they are. It's only in South Africa. Elsewhere around the world, that doesn't happen. Elsewhere in other industries, even in local industries, that does not happen. If in the car industry, if a manufacturer produces a car and then this car, the consumer says this car has a lot of flaws, the producers, the manufacturers must fix those flaws and make sure that the consumer gets what they want. But when it comes to our industry, when it comes to this local industry, man, our film industry I don't understand. Each and every time when they produce a movie and South Africans don't love that movie, South Africans don't appreciate that movie, they go on and they ridicule the customers. Us who watch the movie, they tell us that you are stupid, you don't know what's good for you. And it's really sad because the industry is not growing. Look at the music industry in South Africa. How house music is doing. It's doing very well. Gospel music is doing very well. Why? Because these guys, they are singing what the consumers want to hear, what the customers want to hear, what the listeners want to hear. But then in the film industry, I know because I wanted to be in the film industry and I tried so hard. So which means I qualify both for someone who wanted to be in the industry and someone who's a customer, who watches a lot of movies, who spends their money to watch these movies. And I think if I spend my money to watch movies, then I have a right to talk about these movies and the behavior of guys who produce movies in South Africa. And most people say the film industry in South Africa is struggling because of finance. That's not true. The film industry, it gets finance from the government. The music industry does not get finance from the government. The music guys, they produce the music and then the customers buy the music. The customers go to the gigs and then they pay. And these guys, that's how these guys are making a living. When the COVID hit, the music industry and the film industry both went down. The music industry is back up. Simply because these guys, when COVID hit, they make sure they stayed in studios, they produced music. As soon as the lifting of the restrictions was up, these guys gave us the music that they prepared. And they're getting gigs now and they're back on top. They're doing well again. How is it possible that the film industry cannot do that? Simply because they are not doing what the consumers are doing. How many times have we been telling the producers, the people who are making movies in South Africa, that they are making bad movies? They're making wrong movies. Yet they tell us, when they produce a movie, they tell us that no, you're supposed to watch this movie because this movie is about Nelson Mandela. Who told you we want a movie about Nelson Mandela? I know it's supposed to be made. It's part of education. All of those movies, all of the apartheid movies, they are part of education. They are not entertainment movies, of which is one of the reasons why our local industry is struggling, because they are confused. These guys, they think entertainment and education is the same. No, it's not the same. Never ever. You go to America, there are movies that are making the money. They are not educational movies. They are entertainment. Those two are different things. You go to any big international film market, the biggest in Bollywood, the movies are not about education. They are entertainment. That's why there's always dancing in their movies. That's why there's always color in their movies. When you watch Bollywood movies, you're not watching a movie about the president of India or whatever's going on. No, you're watching a movie about a nice life, the good things, the entertaining part of India. When you're watching Japanese anime, the Japanese animation movies are some of the movies and the shows. They're some of the biggest in the world. Why? because they're not talking about the history of Japan, and they're not talking about the history of China and all of those things. Kung Fu movies are not talking about Kim Jong-il. Kung Fu movies, Chinese movies, they're talking about the nice, they are entertaining. They are showing us their culture, the entertaining part of their culture. They're not talking about their politics. You go to the American movies, Thanos was not the Prime Minister of the United States. Those movies are not documentary movies. Captain America is not the former president of America. That's why those movies are making money, because they are entertainment. They are not educational. But in South Africa, these guys, they'll take all of this education about the history of South Africa, and then they throw it there along with entertainment, and they say we must watch it, of which that's not how things are supposed to work. When we go to the cinema, we're going to watch the entertainment. We want to be entertained. We want to escape reality and just, man, something different, something out of this world, something that can just stroke your imagination. We don't want to go there and watch a movie about Nelson Mandela. And I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about everyone. That's why Long Walk to Freedom did not do well. That's why the movie about Solomon Mahlangu did not do well. And I watched those guys who did Solomon Mahlangu when they were on Daily Theatre. They were talking bullshit. And this guy was like, oh, South Africans, they need to start supporting local movies. That is bullshit. Fact is, it was never going to happen. No South African is going to be going to the cinema to go and watch a movie about Solomon Mahlangu, Steve Biko, and Nelson Mandela. Not because we don't appreciate what those guys did. No, because that's not entertainment. That's education. And we are smart enough. We know the fucking difference. This guy was there at Daily Theatre telling us South Africans should have watched this movie because South Africans, the movie is not making money at the box office. Are you fucking dumb? You mean to tell me you're expecting Solomon Mahlangu to sell just like Thanos? Just look at the movies. Look at the movies themselves. South Africans, they have this thing. South African filmmakers, they have this thing. Number one, they are lost because they think they confuse education with entertainment. These guys, they confuse the museum with the cinema. Two different things. That's why people don't flock to the museum, but people flock to the cinema because they get entertained. That's why people don't flock to the tap, yet they flock to the pub, because alcohol entertains people. People pay more for entertainment than education. They are forced to watch education. But when it comes to entertainment, they just go willingly. They want it. That's why the music industry is doing so well, because the music industry is an entertainment industry. And we know that. Everyone knows that, except you guys who are making the movies. And the fact that the prices of the tickets are the same is even worse. Let me tell you why. If a South African manufacturer says they're producing a car to compete with the BMW M3, the C63 AMG, and the RS5, and this car is a South African car, and the price is also the same, and you should buy it, and then you're like, okay, this car is 1.5, now does it drift just like the BMW? And they say no, it doesn't drift, it's front wheel drive. Okay, and does it sound like AMG? At least no, it doesn't sound like AMG. We're saving you petrol. And you're like, okay, is it all-wheel drive just like the Audi? And they're like, no, it's not all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive to save you petrol, and you don't need all-wheel drive. And you're like, okay, is it super fast? No, it's not fast. We're supposed to save you petrol. Okay, does it look good? Is this car sexy? No, the car is not sexy. It's just a car to help you save petrol and commute to work. And yet this car, they're putting it in the same price as the C63, the BMW M3, and the RS5, and they're putting it there. This car is supposed to be down here with the Honda Civics and the Toyotas and the Nissans, that shit. Yet they put it up there because they say this is good for you. The fuel consumption. Who told you when I'm buying a C63 I want better fuel economy? Who told you when I'm buying the M3 I want safety? The reason why those cars are up there, they don't even have that safety of the all-wheel drive, is because the customer is looking for all of that compromises so that the car can drift. That's entertaining to a BMW driver, to a Mercedes-Benz driver. And then you bring a front-wheel drive car and then you say it's supposed to be as entertaining when you bring me a Honda Civic. It doesn't make any sense. That's what these guys are doing. The South African filmmakers, they are bringing products that are so lame and they're putting it up there at the cinema with, if you're going to the cinema, there's the Avengers and the Solomon Mahlangu. I mean, you go to the Avengers, it's not rocket science, simply because the Avengers is done well, it's entertaining, it's beautiful, it's done in 3D, which means it's, my guy, it's beautiful. Now I have to go to Solomon Mahlangu, of which that movie was not even done well. If you criticize it on a level of how you criticize a movie, that movie was not even done well. Solomon Mahlangu, Kalushi, whatever the movie is called, is a bad movie simply because, not because it's an apartheid movie, no, because it was a bad movie. It was done bad by people who don't know how to make movies. Which brings me to my other point. In South Africa, these guys are not interested in the beauty of cinema. No, they're just interested in the story. They forget how I've watched so many movies in South Africa where that it's not about the funding, it's not about, it's all about if this guy could have put the camera here. If this guy could have put the camera here. Well, an American director would put the camera here to make sure he captures this and the horizon and everything. The South African filmmaker just puts a camera here, just looking at the people, forgetting about the surroundings. I've watched so many South African movies where it's all about the person that the director that is not talented. Yes, the director is fine. He can tell the apartheid story. That's perfectly fine. But I've watched many movies where the director is not talented at all. The cinematographers are not talented at all. Many movies. How is it possible that that movie, The Racist, it was a movie about drag racing? Yet there are YouTubers today who shoot with iPhone. They make better drag racing videos without budget, with an iPhone, with a GoPro. Yet the guys who made The Racist, with all of that budget, they made a shit movie with all of those cameras, with all of those resources. It does not make any sense. The Racist should have been a movie that's worthy. I remember when they were making Racist, one of the actors was like, "No, we want this movie to be a reality movie. We don't want it to be a superficial movie." And that's when I knew, when they were making the movie, that's when I knew that this movie is gonna suck. Like, this movie is gonna be shit. When he was going online saying that we want this movie to become a reality and we don't want this movie to become a superficial movie, that's when I knew, like, they're switching off their imagination. They're just gonna give us a news bulletin of a movie. And the first review of the movie, the journalist was like, "Yes, this movie is about racing, but where is the racing?" That's the first review about the movie. And those things, they're connected because you switched off the imagination. There is no way that you can make a movie, get funding from the NFVF, get funding from TDF or whatever, everything, and then from there you make a movie, a racing movie, a movie about cars that is worse than some YouTubers video. You can't. It's not acceptable. And yet you expect us to run to the cinema, and no, that's not how things work. We go to the cinema with our money. We spend those $400, the popcorns and the tickets and all of that shit at the cinema. That's our money, because we want to enjoy a good product. We don't want to go there because you forced us and you're giving us some shit product. And a group of other guys, they were talking about South African movies are not doing well because of marketing. That is bullshit. Anyone who tells you that is an idiot. South African movies are, even if you market them perfectly fine. I give you a perfect example. When Long Walk to Freedom came out, that's when Nelson Mandela passed away. So when Nelson Mandela's funeral was around each and every TV on this planet, on social media, on any TV, everywhere around this planet, Long Walk to Freedom was in cinemas. So every guy who went to the cinema knew that, okay, this is a movie about Nelson Mandela. We saw him on the news. Long Walk to Freedom had the best marketing of any movie ever made. More than the Avengers, more than Endgame, more than any DC movie, more than Titanic, more than any movie ever made. Long Walk to Freedom had that marketing. Already, Nelson Mandela's funeral made sure that movie has better marketing. Everyone knew that Mandela had just passed on, and on every TV on this planet, and the movie is in the cinemas, yet people still didn't go and see it. So marketing, no. Even if South Africans know that there's a local movie in the cinemas, they never go, simply because the movies are boring. Every time when I get home, they're like, movies. Did you bring nice movies? Even if I can have Long Walk to Freedom, even if I can have Kalushi, they would never watch it. I have never, me and my family, we have watched many movies. Your DC movies, your Marvel movies, your horror movies. We watch movies every time when it's festive season. That's what we do. Me and my family, we sit down and we watch movies, movie after movie, movie after movie. Never, ever have they ever wanted to watch a local movie. Simply because our local movies are boring. They are not entertaining. They are educational, yes. For that's perfect. But they are not entertaining. And here's another thing. Most people think like, okay, we're supposed to watch them because they address issues. Even if they address issues, there's something you need to know. Movies are supposed to be beautiful. South African movies are not beautiful. I can tell you, like, that's why I say if the racist, with all of the resources they had, can make a worse movie than a YouTuber with just a GoPro can make a better drag racing video than the whole movie, then there is a serious problem. That movie, The Racist, was not bad because of funding, because of it was not marketed well. It was a horrible movie because the people who made it are not talented. And that can go for Kalushi, and excluding a couple of movies like Sarafina. Sarafina is a beautiful action movie, a proper blockbuster action movie. That's why even still today, Sarafina is appreciated, because it has dancing, it has the action, it has the fights. Yet someone is just gonna come out of their hole and then bring up some shitty movie and then tell us like, no, you're supposed to watch it. No, that's not how things work. You look at American movies, you look at the Japanese animation. Those guys, when they make a product, they make a product to be appreciated by the rest of the world, to entertain the rest of the world. Why do you think we still watch Dragon Ball Z till today? Why do you think we still watch American movies, old American movies, even still today? Simply because when they make a product, they make an entertaining product that will last forever. Yet you guys, when you make movies, you tell us we're supposed to watch the movies because the movies are good for us. Who gives a fuck? We're not interested. That's why even now I'm not going to watch, what is that movie? Mr. Bones. I'm not going to watch Mr. Bones. The last Mr. Bones that was good was the first one. The second one, it had this retarded comedy that South Africans think it's nice. I swear, I don't understand how South Africans think this retarded comedy is. I don't understand. I watched Mr. Bones 2. I never laughed at even one joke or even one, because I honestly don't understand how this retarded comedy, the Mr. Bones, Mama Jack, what's this other one? Mad Buddies. It's just, you see that one. You see this comedy where they are trying so hard. I call it the retarded comedy. I never understand. I would never go and watch any of Leon Schuster's movies except the prank movies. Those were nice, but the movies where he's acting or the Mama Jack or all of the retarded comedies, just including our local TV shows, I would it's just, man, it's just vomit. I don't understand. And someone needs to tell these guys that Bible, and this is not how things work. There's only one local comedy movie that I enjoyed. I also enjoyed Happiness is a 4-letter word. That was a beautiful movie. I loved that. But one South African movie of which it's underrated. I forgot the name of the movie, man, but I'll just put it down. That movie is one of the best and the funniest South African movies I have ever watched. Also with the material. That's not a movie where they are trying to make you laugh. That's the movie where they are making a nice movie. So until these guys they fix all of this shit that they're doing, I honestly tell you, I'm not going to go to the cinema to watch any of our local movies at all. Simply because not because I don't want to support, but I don't want to support mediocre. I don't want to support useless shit. Because honestly, just because a movie is about Nelson Mandela doesn't mean we're supposed to be forced to watch it. We know the story of Nelson Mandela anyway. What are we going to do at the cinema? A movie has to be beautiful. There are movies that are beautiful where the directors they went out to make the movie beautiful and entertaining in the big screen. It doesn't make sense where someone is just like, no, just put the camera anyway. The movie is about Nelson Mandela. No, there's no need to do that. The movie is about Nelson Mandela. Just making mediocre shit just because the movie is about Nelson Mandela. No, that's not good enough. You can make an action movie about Nelson Mandela. People will go and watch it. You can make an action movie about Gold Reef City. People will go and watch it. Make a movie about Gold Reef City and that water bubbling under there in the mine. Make an action movie about that. People will go and watch it. Make a movie about kids going in the mine at the Gold Reef City and then disappearing because the mine is so big. Make a movie about that. People will go and watch it. But not the movies about, yes, this is what happened to him. By now we know all of that shit. And there's no need for us to, like, if we want to know more, we'll just go to the museum. If you want to, instead of making just a movie about June 16, how about you make an action movie inspired by June 16? An action movie. Then we'll go and watch it. Then that movie would be beautiful. That movie would be entertaining. But and this thing is simple, guys. There's no need, even if you think I'm wrong, but the facts are documentary movies don't make money. There are movies whereby you will ask for funding and then you make the movie, no one watches it, and you win an award. You ask for money to make another one and then you win an award, no one watches it. You ask for funding, you make another one, no one watches it. But if you make an action movie, you can only get funding once. People watch it, you make much more than the funding, you make profit, and you can make two more movies. And then people watch the 2 more movies and then you make profit for 4 more movies. Simply because you give customers what they're looking for. Not this thing of forcing us to go and watch movies. No. And Kalushi was a bad movie. Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom was fine. But I understand why my girlfriend and all of my friends, my siblings and everyone I know has never watched it. Each and every one of my friends, I'm the only one because like I was like, you know what, it's a South African movie. Let me see what's it all about. Each and everyone I know hasn't watched that movie. Simply because it's a documentary movie, people are not interested in documentary movies. I hope if you think I'm making sense, you can